What's up, guys? Luke back again with another Gaming Week in Review podcast where we talk about what has interested us in the world of video games each and every week. But with that being said, let's get right into it. So obviously I want to kind of do the, lesser news first. There is a lot of big news, so it's not really a whole lot of lesser news. And today's podcast is going to be very, very new console centered. There just really wasn't a whole lot of like retro themed stuff that was jumping out at me. So just heads up on that, guys. But first thing I want to talk about is a Sega Saturn replacement housing has been announced and put on pre-order. We'll have the link in the description for you guys to go and check this out. This is kind of cool, and it's something that, like, being in repair for as long as I've been in it for game consoles, it's been a good 8 to 9 years since I started like working and fixing video game consoles. So it, like, just being in this area for so long, I've experienced a lot of different products. And one thing that really isn't a thing until now is replacement home console housings. There have been a lot of non-home console housings for like handheld systems like the Nintendo DS or Game Boy or even the Nintendo Switch, which is kind of a hybrid console, but there hasn't been a ton of full replacement housing shells for game consoles such as the Nintendo 64 or maybe a Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo, NES. And it's kind of cool. Anytime I see something like this, I want to let everyone know about it because I want these things to sell really well. So Sega Saturn replacement housings have been put on pre-order. There is a bunch of different colors you can choose from. They're mostly translucent, but you can kind of you can differ from that as well. It looks like they have like regular black ones, just a newer shell type of thing. So if you want to keep that stock look, it looks like that's going to be available as well. But kind of a fun little thing, and they are kind of spendy. It looks like they're upwards of about $115 looks like they're about $115. So it's not something that's like really affordable, but at the same time, I mean the kind of saying that you get what you pay for is really a thing with console housing. So I'm okay with it being more as long as it's on par with the original console's housing, which I'm sure isn't cheap to design the mold and make sure that it's good quality and it fits together correctly. It works with all the internals of the Sega Saturn and things like that. So it is going to be a pretty pricey housing, but I think it's worth the money, being that it's kind of an obscure console. The Sega Saturn didn't sell a whole lot of units. I think it was about 8.5 million units total sold for the Sega Saturn. So that's not a lot. So it was a very much so a failed console, and to see it getting this level of support in 2020 is an amazing thing. So links in the description, go and check it out. Also, while you're over there, the same company, game-tech.us, is also doing, they also sell Sega Dreamcast housings, and those range and have all kinds of different cool designs, and they range from about $70 to about $115 as well. And if you're a Resident Evil fan and you're a Dreamcast fan, go and check them out because they have some really cool Code Veronica themed things where they kind of replace the Dreamcast Jewel with Umbrella Corporation Jewel and a bunch of other cool ideas. They have a Sega Genesis themed housing that says, instead of 16-bit, it says 128-bit, which I thought was like pretty funny and just cool. Like, it's cool. I want to see more of these. It's funny that Sega's getting all the love. I mean, where's the replacement original Xbox housings, or maybe a replacement PS2 or GameCube housing? I know people would go bananas over those two consoles, or any of those consoles getting brand new housings, because it's just fun. It's fun to make your system look like it's brand new again. So it's a great opportunity. I want to see way more like it. And now it's time for some Xbox news, and boy howdy do I have a lot for you. So getting right into it, we got Xbox Series X and S pre-orders. So those went live a couple of days ago, and they were this pre-order it was kind of the same story with the PS5 pre-order, as far as the quickness that these systems sold out. It was incredible how quick they sold out. And I was actually planning on picking one up. I woke up early, but I think I woke up a bit too late, because as soon as they got released, I was not on top of it at all. I was about 10 minutes late to firing up my computer and stuff. And when pre-orders like this are going on, like, you can't be 10 minutes late. 10 minutes late, you are like 30 minutes late. You need to be ready with multiple tabs up, and like all your information filled out for your account for all these different companies. It's a real rat race. So needless to say, I missed out. I didn't get a Series X or S, but I'm kind of okay with that. With everything that like has been going on, with the new consoles being announced, and just, you know, the amount of time that it's taken for us to find out the price of these consoles and pre-orders to go up, it's been a very stressful experience. And, you know, when I think about game consoles and like my life like in gaming, it's usually an enjoyable experience. You know, it should be an enjoyable experience. And with the past couple of weeks, trying to like run in this rat race and get these consoles before they get sold out, and like stay on top of it, and all that stuff, it's been very stressful. It's been the opposite of fun. It's been the opposite of a great experience. It's been a very stressful experience. And, you know, missing these pre-orders kind of made me just feel like, I felt like a weight was lifted. I know this sounds funny, but missing the pre-orders actually kind of like, I'm able to like get back to worrying about more important things, you know, than the next game console that's really going to be flawed. I think on both sides, Sony and Microsoft are going to have a lot of flaws at launch. It's not the right year to launch a console. They've kind of forced it, and it's created a huge mess. People are ticked off. You know, there's not enough inventory. At least they're not letting us have enough inventory, and we'll get into that here later in the podcast. But it's you know, it's just not been a good experience. So I'm excited, and I've had a weight lifted on me, and I've had kind of a new perspective come over me, and I kind of want to encourage you as the viewer to kind of maybe think the same way. These consoles are going to take a little while to settle in. A lot of the time when you have a release of a new console, they usually have bugs. They usually have things that were unforeseen, i.e. the Xbox 360 and PS3 launches having really a lot of issues as far as like cooling was concerned, you know, and just other various issues. And then also with the PS4, there was a lot of those early on having APU unit issues where there was contamination under the APU unit, and it was causing the consoles to blue light of death. which is basically the equivalent to the red ring of death for the Xbox 360. And, there's always something usually, with a new console or really a new product being released. So that's a thing. Also, the lack of games on launch is also a thing. Yeah, PS5's getting a couple of games, but that aren't going to be available on the PS4. I get it. But they're also getting, are releasing some games that will be available on the PS4. The one that comes to mind is the Sackboy Adventure game. That looks like a pretty fun little experience. Yeah, I'm still excited to play my PS4. I know that sounds weird because all the excitement's around the PS5, but I'm excited to play PS4. I also have I have a pretty large backlog because, guys, I'm new to staying up with the newest, latest, greatest stuff. This isn't something that I'm comfortable with. I'm a retro gamer. Like, I get excited about Sega Saturns getting new housings. I get excited about the Dreamcast getting a new housing. I get excited about Game Boy Colors getting consoleized and HDMI output on retro consoles, future-proofing them so that our children and our children's children can enjoy them. So, like, this chasing after the shiny new toy that just came out, this is a new thing for me. So, like I was saying, I have a backlog. I have God of War that I haven't played yet. I have Spider-Man that I haven't played yet. I have Bloodborne that I haven't played yet. I have The Order that I haven't played yet. Dude, I have a lot of games that I haven't played yet that are bangers. Awesome games. So, I kind of want to motion this to you guys. I want to encourage you guys to maybe have the same kind of thought. Do you have a backlog of PS4 games? Maybe Xbox One games? Or even Nintendo Switch games that you haven't gotten to yet, that are readily available at your local GameStop/game store, wherever you go to purchase video games? And I think more likely than not, the answer is going to be yes. There are games that you missed out on, that you haven't had a chance to play, that are great, fantastic games that you can play right now today. You don't have to jump on a hype train. You don't have to pitch a tent out in front of a local Walmart. You don't have to do any of those things. You can go and enjoy them right now today. So I hope that maybe helps you if you've been stressed out about this. Like try to have a different perspective of this. Like, we will all of us that want these systems, we will eventually get them. They may be next week, they may be next month, they may be next year, they may be in the next 5 to 10 years if you're smart. We might get those, because everything will be cheaper and we'll be a generation behind. Obviously, I'm not going to do that because I want to give you guys good information. I want to be talking about the latest, greatest game that's coming out next week and getting hyped about that. I love what I do. But as a gamer, as a person that enjoys playing video games on my own time, I'm okay with missing out on it a little bit. I'm okay with getting into the game a little bit later, when the bugs are fixed and the consoles are readily available. Maybe even, who knows, getting a discount on one of these systems. I'm okay with that. So I hope I encourage you guys. I know that was really long-winded, but I just kind of wanted to share that with you. It's just how I've been feeling, and I hope that maybe I can, help ease your stress a little bit through this. If you maybe haven't been thinking this way, I just encourage you to think that way. More Xbox news. Xbox Bethesda acquisition. There's been a purchase, as probably a lot of you guys know. I was very surprised about this purchase. Never thought something like this would happen. Two huge companies merging together, and basically Xbox just, flexed their muscles, man. They bought Bethesda for $7.5 billion. I remember when companies were bought for hundreds of millions of dollars, but apparently billions are the new hundreds of millions. And with that, obviously, we go right to Game Pass. We're going to have so many new games added to Game Pass, including Doom Eternal, which I'm really excited about, and that's been the first one to actually be announced to be coming to Game Pass as early as, and I actually think it is a solid date, October 1st. So we don't have to wait long for that, Game Pass owners. If you haven't played Doom Eternal yet, just wait a few more days, and if you have Game Pass, you can pick it up. Also, I wanted to get a little more information on all the IPs that we can expect to come over to Microsoft and Game Pass, and there is actually more than I expected. So Bethesda owns quite a few different companies, and I've heard other YouTubers kind of like start rattling off all the different franchises that they think of when they think of Bethesda, but I thought I'd go one step better for you guys and actually, do a little bit of research and find out what IPs are coming over. So we have Dishonored coming over. I didn't know Bethesda owned Dishonored. I thought that was a different company. We have Doom, the Doom series, so Doom Eternal, Doom 2016, Doom VR to Game Pass PC, and then we have Fallout, obviously the Fallout series, amazing. Prey. A lot of people don't think about Prey when they think about Bethesda, but Prey is a fantastic little game that was in development hell for a very long time, but finally came out and really was a critically acclaimed game and did very well. Has some DLC, has some VR stuff, really something to check out. Also, we have Rage, the Rage games. We had Rage 2 just recently come out. I think that was a couple of years ago. And then there's also games that are currently in development, like Starfield, that we don't really know a whole lot about aside from an announcement. But that's a new IP that Bethesda is working on right now. So guys, we get to get excited about a 16th studio coming out with a game this generation, probably in the some semi-foreseeable future, the next couple of years or so. So another game to get stoked about. We have the Elder Scrolls series, of course. We've all been waiting for Elder Scrolls 6. And that's going to be a thing eventually. And the Evil Within, I didn't know. Evil Within is a Bethesda-owned game. So we've had 2 Evil Within games, maybe a 3 in the future. The Wolfenstein series, great. And then we also have 2 PS5 exclusive games. Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo are also games that are now owned by Microsoft. They're going to be timed exclusives for the PS5, but Microsoft now owns those games. So future Deathloop games, future Ghostwire Tokyo games, most likely will probably be Xbox exclusives. And I don't anticipate Microsoft really playing too nice with multiplats. With this stuff, I think a lot of this stuff is going to be exclusive. They do have a really good relationship. I love Microsoft and Nintendo's relationship. Don't you? Like, I like it. I love Phil Spencer on Twitter, and he's just kind of honoring Mario, and like I love it when companies play nice. I feel like very much so they don't have to be like so competitive. I think it actually looks worse than it would if they just kind of recognized each other. So I really do like Microsoft's relationship, not just with Nintendo, but also with a lot of other companies too, like Bethesda. So I think it's good stuff. I'm not the most stoked about it just being a Microsoft IP, but if I look at it from a business standpoint, this is an incredible acquisition. And then also, lastly, I did want to say that Bethesda still owns Quake. So Quake is now owned by Microsoft and Xbox, and I was looking through these different names, and when Quake came up, it was like highlighted. We haven't heard anything about Quake, but it's still there, and I think there maybe there's something brewing in the back rooms of Bethesda for a future Quake game. I would love to see that. I really enjoyed Quake when it was back on the 64 days. I actually liked Quake better than I liked Doom. There was just something about the levels. It was very similar, but there was just something about the levels and kind of the atmosphere of the Quake games. So I would love to see kind of an update, sort of like they've done with Doom, bringing Quake into the modern era. So there's a lot to be excited for, especially with Xbox's money. They have some serious dough to throw around $7.5 billion to acquire a company. Yeah, they're able to invest in these games, and I hope they do. Also, there's some rumors kind of floating around the internet. I don't like rumors. I don't like to report on rumors, but this one was kind of fun, and I kind of thought you guys would enjoy this. So there are some rumors that Microsoft Xbox is going to go after Sega, and that makes me kind of laugh even when I say it. It sounds ridiculous, but I thought the same way about Bethesda. So there's a lot of people on Twitter saying that there has been some kind of relation, some kind of dots that you can connect. Microsoft did announce a new controller for the Series X that is blue and white, the same colors of Sonic, as well as some Twitter posts from Sega of Japan, where there was some X's on the screen with hands and a box next to it, and it sounds a little far-fetched, but kind of interesting. Maybe it happens. Now, Tokyo Game Show is happening right now, and today, actually, Microsoft did their Tokyo Game Show presentation. And there wasn't much there. It was kind of a repackaging of some of the things that we already saw here during their last showcase. But they also showed some new stuff. There was a new Samurai Showdown game announced. It's going to be called Samurai Spirits is the name of it. So I didn't know about this. If this is new or if this isn't new, please let me know in the comments. But I didn't know about a new Samurai Showdown game. And when that happened, when that got announced, I was kind of stoked about that. But I didn't watch the whole thing all the way through. Obviously, it's in Japanese, so it can get a little dull trying to figure out what is being said, especially when there's no subtitles. But there was no information on any kind of acquisitions of Sega or collaborations or anything like that. Tomorrow is going to be Sega Atlas's presentation, so we may hear more about it tomorrow. And if we don't, I'm thinking that this is just a little too far-fetched. I mean, Xbox releases a blue and white controller, and we all think that they're gonna acquire Sony now, or Sega now. Like, come on, guys. Like, I think it's a little far-fetched, but I thought it was kind of fun, so I wanted to share. And then finally, guys, we have the Xbox getting basically releasing their price for expandable storage. And I think we all knew this wasn't going to be cheap. Their 1 terabyte SSD NVMe drives are going to be going for a whopping $219.99. So if you want to expand internal storage, you're going to have to shell out $80 short of a Series S to get an extra terabyte of space. And hopefully this will go down as time goes on. Hopefully there will be sales on this stuff and things like that. But as soon as that was the one thing that I was like, I don't know, Microsoft, I'm not real excited about that. That seems a little, you know the word. And I knew going into it that this thing was going to be kind of expensive. It's a custom 1 terabyte SSD, which is, I think is probably a little silly. I think it's probably just maybe a different format, or slot is a little bit different, but I highly doubt that this is going to beat any of the regular PC NVMe SSDs. I actually have a couple NVMe SSDs in my PCs here in the store, and they are blazing fast. They're very quick to boot up. They are noticeably faster than even an SSD. So I'm excited for what they're going to do with these. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, hopefully someone will develop some sort of an adapter, sort of like with the PSP, where, Sony, likes to come up with new formats. And they came out with this, it's basically an SD card, but they called it the Memory Stick Pro Duo. And these things got really expensive. We're also seeing that with the PS Vita even now. Vita memory cards are so expensive and annoying. But both of those platforms have adapters where you can put a regular SD card into it and then play through there. Now, I don't think formats will be able to change because they have been very clear that the NVMe SSD is being used strategically for game performance. So if you lower that, you may have issues with your gameplay. So I don't know if you would be able to just, slot in a cheap SSD you bought from Newegg. But I think, and I bet, you could probably put an NVMe 1 terabyte drive, and I pick up some of those for usually like $115, something like that. So hopefully an adapter comes out so we can not break the bank if we want to expand our storage. And speaking of storage space, what told them that 1 terabyte was enough space? I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. But 1 terabyte, really? Come on. But, on the other side of the coin, they do need to kind of make these affordable for themselves. So being that they're selling them for $220, I don't think there's a gigantic markup. I think there's a markup, obviously, so they can make money. But I think there's a reason why they're that expensive. It's because they're probably pretty spendy to manufacture. So they go up to 2 terabyte, and oh god, it would be ridiculous. So I guess it makes sense for that reason. And lastly, guys, gonna finish up here, but I wanted to let everyone know, by the time you're watching this, it's probably going to be a little bit too late, but I do kind of want to encourage you guys, if you heard my speech earlier and you're like, okay, dude, whatever, I still want a PS5. I wanted to let you know that I have talked to some people that I know, just some connections in the retail space. I don't want to share too much information, but I have talked to some people that I know that kind of know their stuff and they know what's coming, that there will be multiple waves of the PS5 pre-order. And actually today, a lot of companies, including GameStop and Walmart, took to Twitter and shared that they will have future pre-orders for the PS5. Yay! So all hope is not lost. We may have more opportunities in the coming weeks to get these systems pre-ordered. But the issue is with the bots. These bots are all over these, and people are missing out on their systems because a scalper and bots, or however the heck that works. I don't even pretend to know how that works, but they're buying up these systems before human beings are able to get them. And I think there's actually a lot of solutions to kind of fix this. One solution that I thought about was CAPTCHAs. So every time you sign into a certain websites and things like that, they have a security CAPTCHA that you have to, for example, they'll have a picture and it'll be all broken up into squares, and you have to highlight all the squares that have a car on it. So that's kind of an example of a CAPTCHA. And when you highlight them all correct, then it says, okay, you're a human being. Okay, let's go forward. Just add that to the website for pre-orders. Just add that, and you'll have way less people pissed off, and you'll have way less people scalping your system. And, I think it would help tremendously. Another thing that they could do too is kind of just continue with pre-orders. Even if you're out of pre-orders, I don't know how that would work, but you could just continue doing pre-orders and be like, hey, it could take up to 3 to 6 months to get your system. Sorry, but you're a little later, and it could take this long, as short as this time, as long as this time. And just let people flood your freaking site. And Sony should back up these retailers as well, because this is a mess. This is stressful. It's a pain in the butt. We just want our systems, so the whole releasing it, and as soon as you hit your number, you close it. It's creating panic and stress within the consumer. And there's got to be a way that these companies can kind of work it out with Sony. We're gonna get just try to allocate more, or just kind of allocate out quarters or something like that, so that they can so people can be satisfied that they got their pre-order. At the very least, if I'm pre-ordering something and they, at the very least, at least I got my pre-order. At least I know that I will eventually get a PS5 / Xbox One X. It may take 3 to 6 months, but at least I have an idea that, at least I know I've paid for it. It's going to be mine soon. It just might take a little bit longer. I think that would be kind of a cool solution as well that some of these retailers could do. It would, at the very least, it would decrease the panic that's kind of set into the consumer, that they have to be online at this time, and you better have good solid internet, and you better have everything set up in your cart, or you ain't getting one. Those two things I think would really lighten things up a lot, and just create less stress. But that's going to do it for tonight's podcast. Thank you guys so much for coming and joining me. Before we close it out, I do want to stick to tradition and share the comment of the week. This week goes to Switch It Up Reviews, and he commented shortly after my last podcast where I went on a really long rant about the PS5 pre-order. By the way, I got a lot of negative comments for that. So sorry, not sorry, but I do really appreciate your guys' feedback, even if it's negative. Don't make it personal. Like, that's just not cool. But like, I'll still love you. Like, no matter what, I'll still love you. But like, I like you guys sharing your opinions. I like it when your passion comes out in a comment down below. So keep commenting, guys. So I'm waiting for that comment that goes against what I'm saying, but it says it in the right way. So I didn't really get that this week. There was a lot of just like sarcasm and things like that in the comments. So unfortunately, you know, none of those negative comments I could really use. And I love reading all your comments, guys. You got to know that. I love it. Every time I see a new subscriber, every time I see a new commenter, whether good or bad, it just puts a smile on my face. So with that being said, Switch It Up Reviews said on my last podcast, how I see it, if you really want a PlayStation, get a PS4 this year. Great wisdom. This was before I felt this way. And wait till next year or maybe 2022. That way it'll be easily available and maybe even a bit cheaper. And if you wait, there are more games to play and also might be cheaper by that time. Thank you, Switch It Up Reviews, for saying what I should have been thinking 1 week ago. Thank you so much. Awesome comment. I completely agree. The beginning of the podcast pretty much confirms that. And I'm excited to get into my backlog on PS4 as well. Yeah. Good stuff. Thank you so much, Switch It Up Reviews, for that comment of the week. But that's going to do it for this podcast, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. And if you made it to the end and you got value out of this podcast, do me a big favor and smash like, as well as subscribe with bell notifications turned on for more content like this. And I want to hear from you guys. Let me know in the comment section down below. Are you excited for the new consoles, or are you just kind of burnt out and done with the rat race? You're gonna wait for a year or two until the new ones coming out become more affordable. Also, are you excited for the new Saturn and Dreamcast replacement housings? Are you going to pre-order one? Are you a big Sega fan? Let me know in the comments. And lastly, do you think that Microsoft Xbox is going to acquire Sega? Let me know in the comment section down below. But until next time, guys, Luke from 8-Bit Plus signing out, and I'll see you in the next one. God bless.